Hey guys, I'm Alistair from Trail and Kale, and this is my Mount to Coast P1 review. A bit about me then. I'm just a regular guy, a non-elite athlete who absolutely loves running. Reviewing the latest running shoes and gear. My 5K PR is 19 minutes and 50 seconds, which I'm always trying to beat. I've run countless ultra marathons around the world, and my favourite distance is the cheeky half marathon. Road or trail, I love running on them both. I'm not afraid to let you know when a running shoe is crap, but also you're definitely going to know when one blows me away. Either way, our independent running shoe reviews are always 100% honest, reliable, and hopefully you'll come away from this video having learned something new. If you've watched any of my Mount to Coast reviews in the past, that's 2 by the way, this is the 3rd shoe from the brand, you will already know that I was very impressed by those running shoes. I mean, if a new running brand comes along and releases their first running shoe that actually really impresses me, then you've got my attention. If they release a second shoe that also impresses me, then I'm really listening to you guys. But a 3rd shoe, then that's a brand that's going to be sticking around for a long time. So throughout this review, I will let you know if this 3rd shoe does hit the mark, just like the other 2, the S1 and the R1 that came before it. I'll also share how this shoe compares to those running shoes. Which one does what best? These are those 2 other shoes. And of course, I will give you my final verdict and let you know if they're worth the price tag. First off then, what is the Mount to Coast P1 designed to do best? What's it designed for? Who's it targeted at? Well, it is a stability running shoe. So it's primarily a daily trainer for those who need stability. So if you have overpronation issues or flat feet, then the P1 is the Mount to Coast running shoe that you really want to get your hands on. And because Mount to Coast is primarily an ultra running brand, that's ultra running on the roads by the way, the P1 is a stability running shoe for those really long training sessions. But also, because of what I'm going to share in this review, it makes a damn good walking shoe too. And it has a very well balanced midsole, so for anyone who does want to kick up the tempo, maybe do some tempo runs, you know, faster paced stuff, this isn't just for those long runs. It feels great when you pick up the pace too. Just quickly then, I'm going to go over how it compares to the other Mount to Coast running shoes. If you want to learn more about them in depth, then definitely follow the links up here and down in the description, where you can go straight to my in-depth video reviews of each one of those shoes. First up then, this on top is the R1. The R1 is primarily designed as an ultra racing shoe. So that's ultra distance racing on road surfaces. Fantastic shoe. To learn more about that one, definitely follow that link up there to watch my full review. Next up is the S1. I'm absolutely loving this shoe as a daily trainer. It is a training shoe, but doesn't have the same amount of stability features as the P1 beneath it. But I absolutely love the fit of this. Again, very well balanced midsole. Does all kinds of runs really well, so it's not just for long distance runs. I'm just using this to get base mileage in right now because I just love the balanced midsole and how comfortable the upper fits my foot. Time to go over the key specifications of the Mount to Coast P1. They cost $160. I will let you know by the end of this review if I believe they're worth that price tag. By the way, that's the same price as the R1. The S1 is a little bit cheaper at $150. How do they fit and how do they feel? Well, like the R1 and the S1, they are very much true to size and they have a medium width. One thing I will say though is they do feel quite tight in the midfoot, but what's actually happening there is the support cage, so to speak, and that gives you more support in the upper, holding your foot in place when you're running. Some people won't like that, some people will love it. I will go into more detail on that in my performance review shortly. They have a high drop of 10mm from heel to toe. It doesn't actually feel like a 10mm drop. So for anyone who doesn't like running in a high drop running shoe, don't be put off by that because it really doesn't feel like 10mm at all. It feels more like a 6mm. They weigh 9.6 ounces for a size US men's 9, that's my pair. And the upper has a really nice circular knit material, which is pretty breathable. but it's also very soft, very comfortable, and it's got a little bit of stretch in there, so if your feet do expand during a hot run or a high intensity run, then it does cater to those swelling feet a little bit. The lacing system is traditional. You will see it's asymmetrical. It's kind of offset to the side. I was a little bit curious to see how that would actually fit or feel, but it just feels like a nice traditional lacing setup. Very quick to get a nice secure fit as well. The tongue is very padded and cushioned, as are the collars and the heel counter. So no complaints on how the upper feels. It's nice and breathable too. There is a finger pull at the rear to help get these shoes on, but to be honest with you, I find that just a little bit annoying and don't end up using it because it's actually quite tricky to get your finger in there. I feel like Mountain Coast could improve that by making maybe a little pull on there or make the loop a little bit bigger. There are also reflective details on this shoe, so if you are running in low light conditions, it is halfway through September now, so the nights are drawing in, so you are likely to be training in low light. So of course it's very important to have reflectivity on your running gear. It does have some adjustability in that midfoot cage section, which I mentioned earlier. And the way you adjust that is by using this extra loop in this gray section here. If you pull that up, you'll see there's an extra eyelet. You can lace the laces through that alternate eyelet, and basically that will give you a tighter fit around the midfoot. But like I said before, it's already quite tight, so I don't think many people will need to use that other eyelet. Also, the tongue on the inside is gusseted, meaning it's connected to the top of the midsole, and that really gives your foot a nice secure fit within the shoe. The midsole is using PEBA foam, but it's a hybrid midsole foam because it's actually using supercritical foam as well. The result is a very nice balanced, responsive, but also cushioned midsole, and they're calling this light cell foam. The midsole also has what Mountain Coast are calling the 3D arch rail, and you can kind of see it poking out on the inside of the forefoot area here, and that sits on top of the midsole, so just below your foot. It's a plastic plate, and it takes the shape of this go flow section here, but it's not actually this. It's another plate on top of the midsole, and what that does is help give the shoe stability, and I have to say it works really well. And then underneath you have this go flow technology, which takes the same S type pattern, and that also furthers stability, but within the midsole foam. If you're enjoying this review, please give it a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to this channel for more running shoe reviews just like this one, but also running shoe roundups too. The insole within the shoe as well offers stability. So it kind of has this dual zone section. You can see it's two separate pieces of foam. So not just a plain insole, this also has stability features. Really cradles your foot nicely, but also the secondary foam is supportive. And then finally the outsole. Well, it's holding up pretty well so far. Excuse the dirty outsole. I actually run in the shoes I review. So the rubber is actually flexible. You will see it in this go flow zone, that there are ridges in here, which helps make the shoe flex under the forefoot, which is biomechanically correct, and that's really what you want from a running shoe midsole. It needs to have a certain amount of flex, enough that when it does compress, it springs back and gives you that nice efficiency over long distances. Congratulations, you've made it to my Mountain Coast P1 performance review. I've actually been having a lot of fun running in these stability shoes. I love getting base mileage in a stable shoe because it helps protect my gait and helps make sure I keep my form in check. And that's very important if you are intending to up your distance, because you will inevitably be running for longer times out there. When you run for longer times or distances, a lot of the time your form can suffer. So a stability shoe helps correct that, and it helps remind you how you should be running. The P1 does this really well. It's very comfortable. Like I said, the midsole is really nicely balanced. I love the new technology, this 3D arch rail that's gone into it. It definitely works well. I'm not so sure about this midsection here. Like I said before, it does feel a little bit too tight to me. I will say, however, that did loosen up after I'd been running for a while, say 20 minutes or so. So I do believe there are adjustability tweaks you can make to this section. Traction on the outsole is also very good. It's pretty much the same outsole to the other running shoes from the Mount to Coast range. I mean, look at that comparison with the S1. It is identical. But the R1, it is a racing shoe and it does have a different outsole. I did have a few viewers comment on this shoe saying, well, isn't that just a foam outsole? No, it does look like it's foam, but it's actually rubber on these white sections too. By the way, if you've got any questions about the Mount to Coast range, I'm very happy to answer them for you. If you're still not sure which running shoe from that range is going to be best for you, just let me know in the comments down below and I'll get you hooked up with the right ones for you. When I'm testing road running shoes, I also like to see how they actually perform if you're running on the forefoot, but also if you're running as a heel striker. And hopefully that will help more people out there determine whether this shoe is going to be good for you, depending on how you run. So they perform very well as a forefoot striking shoe. That's how I run most of my runs, and that's how faster runners will be running as well. The heel is nice and cushioned, so if you do heel strike, then they feel very good in that scenario too. Are they worth that $160 price tag then? Well, yes, I think so. I mean, $160, that's fairly well priced. It's pretty average for a stability running shoe like this. And the Mount to Coast, although it's a new brand, it does perform up there with the best. So yes, if you are looking for a stability shoe with a really nice, well-balanced midsole, where you do want to start trying to up your distance on the roads, then the Mount to Coast P1 is definitely worth a try, and I recommend you give them a go. When it comes to competitors, well, you'll just have to look at my best stability running shoes roundup on trailandkale.com. That roundup is regularly updated as and when I review stability running shoes that are good enough to make it on the list. So definitely check out that stability shoes roundup list. If you do have overpronation issues or flat feet, then that roundup will point you to the best stability shoes for you. Well, I really hope you enjoyed watching this Mount to Coast P1 review. Like I said before, if you have any questions at all about this range, or any brand for that matter, if you're just really not sure which running shoe is best for you, road or trail, let me know your situation and circumstances in the comments down below, and I'll get you hooked up with the best running shoes for you. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.